Hello and welcome to Journeys and Journals. I'm Bernie Martin Beck, and I get to talk to the most interesting people here in Southern Oregon, Northern California, and soon to expand clear into Central Oregon. This is wonderful news. My story today is about war and the good news and the bad news about war. You might notice we have a 48-star flag out here. That's because it was back when I was a kid. My guests were already in the war. This is how we'd like to start, because I'm going to hold up the flag just like I did when I was a kid, and I'm going to wave that flag out. I was on, just so proud to be an American. And I've asked these two vets from Korea to join me as we pledge allegiance to the flag. I want to welcome you. You are?
Neil McCain.
And you are?
Ron Duke.
Well, we want to thank you both for coming. How is it that you do this, and show me how it's done? 48-star flag. You went where saluting this flag? All the way across the Pacific?
We've saluted that flag in the United States and overseas also.
And how about, who are you, and where did you pledge allegiance to this flag?
Well, I first pledged allegiance to that flag in grade school. And all the way up there, all through World War II. And of course, we pledged allegiance always to while we were in the military. Not only did we pledge allegiance to it, we gave allegiance to it.
Great. Well, why don't you show us how it's done? And I'm just a little bit younger, so I was in school. Tell me about the hats on.
Well, hats on means you are ready for duty.
Yes, sir.
And so when you're ready for duty, we're telling our flag that we're ready for duty. And then we have the pledge. In the pledge we use with our hats on, we salute. That is a rule that has been given to us here at the last 2007, that either uniform or non-uniform. Now veterans are allowed to salute the flag rather than just place our hand over our heart.
Okay.
So we're ready to pledge the allegiance.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
to the
flag
of
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Two.
Thank you very much. What else do you do within your organization? Now uncovered. What's that about?
Uncover. I should have said uncover.
That was your command.
Yes.
And within your veterans organization, what do you do now?
We try to do a lot of things, public work, public service, but we're looking primarily at veterans. We're no young kids anymore, the Korean War veterans, and the time's going to come when some of us aren't going to be here. But we, thanks to our commander here, Neil, we're making memorials. Actually, he's making the memorials for the veterans here in Josephine County, Jackson County, all of Oregon, Siskiyou County, Northern California, and hopefully this will spread throughout the whole nation. I'm sure Neil can tell you more about that later. But the memorials are about those servicemen who are killed
in action.
And at our meetings, sometimes I get a little emotional about this,
Yeah.
but at our meetings we read one memorial of one veteran, and I'd like to read one now, if I may.
Please do.
It's for Private First Class Eugene E. Hamilton, remembering those who died in the Korean War. Private First Class Eugene E. Hamilton from Grants Pass, Oregon, was a member of the 9th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division. He was killed in action while fighting the enemy in North Korea. He was 24 years old. Private First Class Hamilton was awarded the Bronze Star for heroism in ground combat with the enemy. He also earned the Combat Infantryman's Badge, Purple Heart, the National Defense Medal, and numerous other medals, including Sigmund Rhee Republic of Korea Presidential Unit Citation. Remembering those who died in the Korean War, let us not forget Private First Class Eugene Hamilton, an American hero.
Thank you very much. And with that, the meeting begins.
Yes, the meeting begins, and each and every time we read a different one, and we have so many to deal with. In Grants Pass, we've got 6 that were killed, and we've made memorials for.
When you say made memorials, are you talking this beautiful thing?
Yes.
Eugene E. Hamilton. What do you know about Eugene?
I know he has a brother here locally, and that's all.
And for how many people? I mean, I see you have these.
Well, this and his for one of our members. We make each one of our members also memorials, and we also will make memorials for any Korean War vet that we become aware of.
Well, you know, I'm thrilled because I live with one Korean vet, Doug Beck, class of 1950. He went into the service. He tells me lots of stories about it, but is there a chance I can get one of these made
Absolutely.
about him?
All I need is DD 214 and information about the ship he was on.
And this seems to, Lee Beck seems to be somebody that he's not related to, Vernon Lee.
That's Vernon Lee, that's a local veteran here,
now,
one of our chapter members.
I want to know, how did you get started doing this, either of you?
This is something that Neil actually started. This was Neil's idea, and we started it here locally. And the fact that he is now the commander for the whole state of Oregon gives a little more ease and possibly, and I know he's going to try, spreading this idea throughout the country. Here in the western states, Washington, California, Nevada, Utah, and eventually throughout the whole United States. Getting the various chapters in the Korean War Veterans Association, getting them interested in doing this, because they're all doing public service in their own community. And this is just one way they can show respect. And I'm sure that it will spread, and Neil does an awfully good job.
Now are these the fallen, or are these the...
Those are the fallen by county.
Okay.
And my hope is what we've been doing, if we've done it here locally, we've got our local radio stations broadcasting these from the scripts that Chaplain Duke has made for these. We first tried it ourselves, and we was given a 30-second spot. They said are free, and we was trying to get this done free. We played taps in the background and kind of messed up taps whenever we was in 30 seconds. So we found out through one of the other radio stations that we can call it a community service, and we can go longer.
Sure.
And so now we've gone longer, and we've had the professional announcers. They wanted to do their own stations, and so they have taken it. So we were the groundbreakers, and now we're trying to get other stations to use their announcers. And what we do now is we write the scripts, put them in Word, put them in an email, then we suggest if they want to use our chaplain for the voice, that he's available, and then we record those that he is. Hopefully, if we had every radio station in the state of Oregon playing those for their county,
Sure.
this would fulfill our obligation to the ones that were killed, that they're remembered. We want them to be remembered.
They started doing this locally here in Josephine County about Memorial Day.
Oh, sure.
They started, and they played it more times than we expected over the radio, 5, 6, 7 times a day, which is very nice. And also in Jackson County, but more right here in Joseph. So it's in its infancy right now. It's just starting
And
growing.
we are so grateful for veterans who've served, whether it's World War I and they are getting down to none, World War II, Vietnam. We've got a Vietnam veteran right here behind the camera, and we're so grateful for everyone. Someone just, did your kids go into the military?
My sons did not.
I had girls. I had daughters. My grandson is in the Navy. He's just is serving his second hitch right now. And he's been over to the Gulf, oh goodness, 3 or 4 or 5 times already. And he's back in San Diego. He's on shore duty for a year now. And I'll see him next month.
Well, I sure want you to take our thanks, both to Grandpa and to your grandson. The detail here, this is why I wanted these folk to be on, because obviously to the family these aren't forgotten, but to us, I know Doug thinks that Korean War was forgotten and Vietnam War vets think theirs was forgotten, but you had a story about coming back home. You didn't even know one another were veterans?
Well, when we got back to the States, people would say, "Where you been?" "Been over Korea." "Well, what are they doing there?" They didn't know. And of course, as we were growing up, raising our families during that period of time, we only had we had to concentrate on raising our families. Many of us never watched news like they watch today.
Because there were few stations,
Well, few TVs.
few TVs, and very few news. 15-minute news a night was all that was on.
Yeah. So most didn't even know there was a war going on.
Well, I remember the little map that would show, because I grew up thinking of the country as chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know when it quit being chosen and became North Korea and South Korea, but that's what this war was all about, right?
Yes, it was. A lot of people think we lost the war. We did not lose the war. We won the war, because our war was against North Korea on the 38th parallel. They crossed it, we made them go back, and that's where we've been holding it ever since. So we won the war, and that's what it was about, because the communists owned the north and the freedom lovers owned the bottom.
Well, now, you weren't just in Korea, though. Where were you stationed?
When I went into the service in 1950, right after the Korean War started, I had basic training and other training here in the United States. And then I went as a unit, as a division, we went to Japan, and we had additional training. We had, I was in the Army Infantry. I'm very proud of that.
What do they call infantry?
Well, they call them a lot of things.
Dirt soldiers.
They call them grunts. They call them a lot of things. Of course, we call the Marines jarheads. So it all works out. But we went to Japan and we had advanced infantry training. We had amphibious landing training. We had airlift training. We had all kinds of training. And when my unit went into Korea, we were the best trained division, other than the 1st Division, which was stationed in Germany, which had been training continuously since World War II.
Now, when did you go over?
We went to Korea. I spent the second winter in Korea, what they call the second winter. It was the winter of 51, 52.
And when you were in Japan, how did they let you know that time was up, you were moving out?
Well, actually, what they did, it's kind of an interesting story. At that time, I was a platoon sergeant. There were 4 platoon sergeants in a company. And we were having a party. It was Christmas Eve. We were having a party. And the 4 platoon sergeants, we'd gone together and we had things. And we had to celebrate a party. We had eggnog and this and that and food and snacks in the day room in the company area. And the company commander came down and said, he said, I've got a Christmas present for you. He said, we're going to Korea.
Oh my
So,
goodness!
well, that was fine. Well, we'd been trained. There was no, oh, golly, what's going to happen to us? We were trained. Actually, we were eager to go. We're looking forward. That's what we'd been training for a long, long time. And we were proud to go. But it was quite a Christmas present.
I bet you think of that. I hope you tell the family.
Yeah, well, they've all heard that story.
Every Christmas, I'd like to have that story told. Where were you when you got word
Well, I was in the Navy. Well, when I got word,
that you were?
I joined on my 18th birthday. The war had already started, and I was graduated when I was still in high school at 17, and so I had to wait for permission. My folks wouldn't sign permission, so on my 18th birthday, I signed, and I was anxious to go, and I went in the Navy. Even had a dog named Sailor. That's how long I wanted to be in the Navy. So, but when I got over there, by the way, I don't want to skip over one spot of our chaplain here. He was also a master sergeant. They don't give you a master sergeant. He earned it. And I was a sonarman aboard a destroyer. And at 19 years old, I watched World War II in black and white movies. Got over there, it was in full color. Boy, whenever the noise, and that's the reason I'm wearing hearing aids, by the way. My GQ was underneath a 5-inch 38 firing. But it was loud and it was all in color.
So when you were a kid at home watching TV, of course it was black and white.
There was no TV when I was a kid.
Oh, okay. So, but you would watch on the newsreels or someplace?
Newsreels. You have to go to the movie studios and watch it.
And so now here you are over there, and the war
Yep.
is real. And the ship, you left out of what port?
Well, I left out of San Diego, and then we made 3 trips to Korea. And the last one was after it was, had signed the armistice. And so then we went to Indochina when it was called Indochina. And we went to Kaohsiung, it's in Taiwan. We were 15 minutes from World War III, it was told in a newspaper article at one time, when our ship was going between the Tatian Islands and the mainland of China. Because although the Korean War was getting all of the news at the present time, there was 300,000 troops on the coastline between the Tatian Islands and Taiwan, ready to invade Taiwan. Chiang Kai-shek was fleet over there, and so there was constant war all over the Far East. And we were part of that in the Navy.
Ready and willing to go and
Oh,
serve.
yes, at 19, of course.
Well, there's so much about your stories that I'd like to learn about, but there isn't a way that people can learn more about you besides the fact that you're here. Once a month you get together, I've heard, because you've invited Doug to come. Where is it and what are you doing with this meeting that you're in charge of the chaplain?
No, I'm not actually. The president of our group lives in Cave Junction, and he conducts the meeting. Neil is the state commander, so actually for here he's just a member, but a very, very active, a very beloved member of our group right here. But we have the local meeting then. And we participate in parades. This Labor Day, we'll be in a parade in Cave Junction. We've been in the last 1, 2, 3 boatnicks.
And what about Jackson County? What's going on over there?
They have a chapter over there that's failed primarily because of the lack of attendance. And so we're trying to revitalize them again.
So if there's Korean vets watching, you'll want them to get in
absolutely.
touch with you.
Absolutely.
All over. You said Northern California.
Northern California as well, yes. Siskiyou. So many that were lost. And we have what we call the waiting room booklets. And these waiting room booklets have, for their area, those that were killed in their county. And we have these scattered around, and they are paid for by donators.
This is Douglas County. I mean, there were
Yes.
a lot.
12.
And Klamath.
Klamath had 12, also lost.
And Northern California?
Northern California, all the way down to Chico, we have listed. The numbers get larger as you get farther south.
My goodness. So this, how can I get one of these made for my husband?
Memorials, we make those for free for any Korean War vet. And we have to have a DD-214 in order to start it. And a picture of them if they're in the military helps. But as you'll notice, some of them up there have no pictures. And some I made for my own high school, I had to use the annual pictures of junior high because it's the only picture available.
Sure, sure. Now this is different from what you've done for Eugene.
Yes, this is different. Was one of our benefactors had these made, and they cost about $60 a piece to have them blown up that big. But they're absolutely beautiful. We're hoping maybe we can get some of those hanging in the courthouse.
In any county, any place people want to start an organization, let's say they're in...
They only need 12 members to start a chapter.
12 Korean War veterans to start the chapter.
What if they're in a small county? They go together with another county?
Well, I guess they could, but nevertheless, we just need to have 12. If we get 12 of them and they're close to a different county, we'll just call it Tri-County or something.
Okay, now you're talking. You have over there, this is quite different.
Those are the same memorials, only I've shrunk them so I could put them on a smaller sheet and get more of them on the display. We probably have 155 of them that I could display, but I don't have enough boards or paper.
So this is an option that you can put up in a public place.
Yes.
And this is something that you can put in Grandpa's album
Yes.
that just say, thanks, Grandpa.
Yes.
Those are wonderful for the family. For the really interested by now, mostly the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, but the children, they love them. They're great.
Now, what is this about great-grandkids? What is their interest?
Great-grandkids are pretty small right there. I knew there'd be so much fun, I'd had them first. But it's for their heritage. In other words, they want to know what their great-grandpa did. And about the only thing I guess we can brag too much about is how we served our country. And we feel that's important.
I've got a Civil War grandpa, and boy, would I love to have something like this for him. Mm-hmm. It's just been very interesting because some of this data is recorded in Washington, D.C.
We couldn't do it without the internet.
That's what makes a difference.
That's the difference. Mm-hmm. Without the internet, I could not have built any of these.
Now, tell me about what this means to you.
Well, to me, I think it's wonderful. Neil has just made my memorial not very long ago, so I haven't had it that long. But I'll be giving that. I have 2 daughters and 2 grandchildren. Neil's got a whole bunch of grandchildren. I just have 2. So it's easier for me. So they will each have a copy of my memorial.
When you say memorial,
well,
you're talking about the memory of that time in your life.
That's right. Memorial, it might be a misnomer if you're alive, I don't know, but they are all memorials, I would think, to our service.
Well, I'd like to take my hat off to you. I don't happen to have a hat on, but I thank you so much. What, I see you both come in white shirts, and they've even got creases down the middle. I remember doing those creases. They're called military.
Yes, they are.
Military creases. Mm-hmm.
You'd have to press them real carefully in the back, too.
Yes.
special?
Epaulets.
Well, there's all kinds of patches because we are a mixed unit of military. Some of us wear a lot of patches, some of us wear very small.
And the Navy wears, Navy, Marines, and Army wear ribbons a little different. For example, on this right here is the Sigmund Rhee Presidential Unit Citation, which is given not to me individually, but to my unit for doing a good job, I guess.
Good.
Now the Navy have that, but they don't wear it over on this side. They wear it over on this side over here.
Yeah, what's the dangling down the chest?
Those are shooting medals. Shooting, marksman, sharpshooter, expert, and these are expert medals for rifle, carbine, and grenade. Those are you get the little bar tells what it's for, and there's a whole bunch of them. Some guys have them going all the way down.
Well, now, you don't have any bars because you're a sailor.
No, we didn't. We had wooden plugs in our guns.
You have wooden plugs in your guns. Well, certainly has been a pleasure to meet you both, and I hope they'll put up your name and address and how the people can get in touch with you. Thank you so very much for being my guests here on Better Life TV.
Well, it was our privilege.
It's our pleasure.
And God bless America, and thank you for serving.
Thank you for allowing us to be here.
I'm Bernie Martin Beck saying it's my privilege to talk to you.